What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of LAMH Huntsville. This is Season 6, Episode 7, and the episode is titled, My Chérie Amour. Y'all, let's get right into the episode. Unfortunately, we have to start off with Martell. He is doing a walkthrough of the place where he's going to be having a party because he's celebrating that he got the cover of Upscale magazine. Keep in mind, this is his first, big thing that he's been able to do since him and Melody are no longer together. So as this man is walking through this building, right, the young lady who was showing him around, she asks like, oh, are you going to have any special guests coming? Like, I think she was just trying to make conversation with him. He's like, oh, I do have one special guest. And before he could say Sheree's name, he's like, oh, I have a couple of special friends coming. And I'm like, that girl probably don't even know who Sheree is. Because in his confessional, he talks about how, he's dating a celebrity like Sheree Whitfield. And how, people want to insert themselves and be all in his business. Sir, I know for sure you cannot be referencing that little white girl. Because I know she was just trying to make small talk with you. Because unfortunately, she has to film a scene with you because you ain't got nobody else to film with. Alright, so then we had to suffer through, this unnecessary phone call between Martell and Sheree, where basically she was just checking in on him to make sure everything went well at the venue. Yeah, next. I feel like we are going to be so tired of Sheree and Martell very soon. Because not only do we have foolishness on one show, we got it on two. But let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so this next scene is all about Mel, and here's the thing. Is it me, or are they trying to put Nell and her husband on the show? Because I feel like I've seen way too much of Nell Fletcher. Y'all, we saw her go to dinner with Martell. We saw her at this little, tea party thing that Mel had. We saw her and Mel meet up. Now she's here for another scene. Are they testing out the Fletchers to possibly come in and be on the show? Because I don't want that. I'm sorry, I don't. But nonetheless, she's here filming with Melody again. She also invited Kiki over as well as Tiffany because she basically wants them to settle their differences. So when they actually sit down or whatever, we have Mel guiding the conversation. Because she's like, everybody looked great at the tea party, but you two have had an issue. Like, how can we fix that? And Kiki is like, I'm the type of person that when I'm angry, I'm on one level and then it goes to 1,000 real quickly. And then I'm ready to put hands on people. But moving forward, I'm going to try to breathe and listen to people more. Now, do I think Kiki's going to do that? No, but we shall see. Now, according to Tiffany, she feels like Kiki's head is a bit more leveled today than it was at the tea party. So they're good. Oh, yeah, and also Kiki does clarify that her mouth was moving faster than her mind and she was not trying to make a dig about her knowing her father at Tiffany. So at this point, Mel is like, all right, so everybody's good. Great. So this means when we meet up as a whole group, everybody be on their best behavior. She was definitely sound like a teacher talking to some classmates, okay? Talking to some bad kids who haven't been getting along. But hey, if that's what's needed to get these girls, on the same page, it is what it is. But let's go ahead and move on. All right, y'all. So now we have Kimmy, Letitia, and Stormy meeting up because according to Tisha, she feels like Mel is the one who wasn't getting the proper etiquette. And I'm like, well, what did she do that stood out to you? Because if anybody wasn't getting the proper etiquette, it was your cousin Kiki. So I'm not understanding how you're worried about what Mel was doing because honestly, when she was having a conversation with Stormy's mother, it's not like she was being disrespectful to that lady. Like, why are you trying to stir up some mess? And also, it's funny because she's like, yeah, because when Mel was addressing Stormy, she never addressed Stormy because Stormy's not the one who spoke up and said that she had a problem. So what are you talking about, Tisha? But let's just jump right into the scene. So, according to Stormy, she actually didn't care for the tea party because she felt like it was pretty much pretentious and very bougie, and that's just not who she is. And I'm like, oh, so now are you going to claim that you are ghetto or hood or whatever people were calling you? Because that's kind of what you're sounding like. And that's not a bad thing, because I don't feel like that's a bad thing if you like hood things, or if you like things that are, not so bougie and, pretentious and pompous. But it's crazy to me how you were so upset because people called you ghetto, but like, you still a little hood and ghetto. What's the problem? But nonetheless, she says that, the spa thing that Tisha threw, now that was her vibe, but not this tea party. And it's crazy because she said that the spa day was relaxing. I'm like, girl, when was you relaxing? Because y'all was over there yelling to the top of y'all lungs about somebody telling you to shut up. Remember? Girl, bye. So Kimmy ends up asking her, like, does she feel like her and Mel, are now on the same page? And Stormy is like, yeah, I think that we are, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. So moving forward, you should not be trying to throw stones at Mel. And hopefully your mom won't be either. So she then asks, hey, did you like the tea party? And of course, Kimmy's like, yeah, I liked all of it. As far as like the whole communication thing, we still need work. But like overall, she did enjoy the event that Mel put together. But I feel like the whole reason why Tisha got these people together, not so much Kimmy, but I feel like she thought that they were about to bash Mel. I really do. So Tisha brings up the fact that she got a text from Kiki that Tiffany had sent her at some point, and it was basically like some fan being like, oh yeah, Kiki's gonna tell everything about the family or something like that. It was basically a diss to Tisha, and she's like, okay, this girl saying that she don't know me, but why was she sending me this a while ago? So now it looks like Tiffany, girl, they about to come for you. Pregnant and all, they about to come for you, because it looks bad that you were even texting Kiki, even though you out here standing tall on the fact that you don't want to mess with her because she disrespected family and all of this stuff. But it's like, girl, you were fine when she was disrespecting Tisha and you wasn't feeling Tisha at the time. You know what I'm saying? So now we have Stormy chiming in about a conversation that she had with Tiffany. And baby, Tiffany is bringing it this season. I feel like Tiffany said, y'all thought y'all was about to get rid of me? Y'all thought y'all was about to destiny me? Not on my watch. I'm clocking in, pregnant and all. Because her and Stormy were talking, and she was like, does she even like really own the company or something like that, talking about Tisha. And Stormy's like, yeah, she owns the majority of the company. And she was like, yeah, well, I think that's just on paper because, people like the idea of businesses being woman-owned. And I said, hold on, Tiff might have a point. Follow me, y'all. Think about it. In the grand scheme of things, over the past, I would say 5 years, we have had a huge push for businesses that are women-owned. We've had huge pushes for businesses that are owned by minorities, especially Black women, right? It would look great for them to have a company together where Tisha's name is on everything. However, Marceau is really running the business, and Tisha is able to get all types of funding, apply for this, apply for grants, apply for this, that, another, because she has a woman-owned business. I'm just saying, it can be beneficial. That's all I'm saying. So that wasn't the only thing that Tiff said. Tiff also was like, it's crazy how when we was at that spa, the one thing that we couldn't talk about or mention was the infidelity rumors about Marceau. And Tisha, she stood on the fact that we were not going to talk about that. And I was like, well, Tiffany, you got a point. Especially considering how many rumors were swirling around on social media about Marceau possibly cheating. And what's crazy is that this is a show that really thrives on things that are happening on social media. It's very social media heavy. So why is it that we can't talk about that, Tisha? So y'all know Tisha is feeling some type of way, right? So now she's like, this girl's hating on me. Why is she worried about me and my man? Because here goes Stormy still talking. I'm like, here's the thing, Stormy. I know that, the drama has to pass around, but did you record what old girl said? Was you recording Tiffany so that way you can repeat back everything verbatim? Because she goes on to say how, Tiffany said that you can't control Marceau or whatever. And you have Tisha being like, well, I don't control him the same way he don't control me. He don't know where I'm at right now. Tisha, he know that you had to go film a scene, so I'm pretty sure he knows where you are. Cut it out. So now, like I said, Tisha is feeling some type of way. So when she sees Tiffany, she's definitely going to address this. And I'm just like, well, I feel like Stormy and Tiffany, there's no way y'all going to be friends. Because the way Stormy just ran all this information back, yeah, ain't no coming back from that. Because it's one thing if we were to run the scene, or if she were to say just a few things that Tiff said, but it's like she had memorized everything that was said in the conversation. And now Tiffany, at some point when she crosses paths with Letitia, she's definitely going to have to answer to the things that were said, which I'm quite intrigued at when that's going to happen. All right, so now we move along to Martell and his little upscale reveal party or whatever, because, he's on the cover. I was annoyed that in the confessionals, you have Maurice saying, Martell, he brought the whole city out, all this stuff. And then for him to say, but I'm wondering if Mel is coming. And it's very frustrating to me watching this show because the cast has to know that they are going through a custody battle right now, where this man is trying to take this woman's kids from her. Why would you think she would be there, Maurice? Please find a hobby. So next thing you know, we have a scene with Tiffany, Stormy, and Kiki. They're all talking, and Stormy's trying to figure out if these two are cool now. And of course, they're like, we actually are good. Mel invited us over to her house, and we're good now. Now, here comes Stormy trying to talk about the things that she mentioned to Letitia, because, she met up with Letitia and Kimmy. And I'm like, what's crazy to me, though, is the fact that in your confessional, you have all these things to say, Stormy, when you're the one carrying and collecting all of the bones and spreading them around. And here we go, but I mean spreading it around. So Kiki is like, because you texted me a year ago or whatever. And this is what the tweet said, y'all. It said, Carlos, keep Kiki with exclamation points. She's about to tell everything, right? And I completely understand where Tiffany was coming from when she's like, it was in support of Kiki, because the sentence started off with Carlos, keep Kiki, in the same sense of yeah, we want her around. We like her as a viewer. The viewers are liking Kiki on the show. I would definitely screenshot it and be like, look, girl, they like you, so you might be sticking around. You know what I'm saying? I think that this was completely blown out of proportion. Because honestly, it sounds like she just took a screenshot and sent it to Kiki, not, adding in her own 2 cents hey girl, everybody wants to hear the tea on Tisha. She didn't do that. This is so blown out of proportion. So what does Stormy do? Because there's no resolve in this situation, she goes to get Tisha. And when Tisha comes by, she feels like the issue is between those two. It ain't got nothing to do with her and this whole tweet that was going around. It's crazy because Tisha don't even care about this tweet. She really don't. Her bigger issue is the fact that Tiffany is currently talking about her behind her back. So what does she do? Address it. And she's like, do you have a problem with, me and my marriage or me and my business? And Tiffany's like, no, but I think it's crazy that you're the majority owner and you got kicked out of your office. I said, well, Tiffany has a point. She's not lying here. Kiki tries to chime in and defend her cousin. And I think she was saying like, oh, because, you can take some lessons from me. And Tiffany was like, I don't need nothing from you. I don't need no lessons at all, period. And I'm just like, okay, Tiffany, I see you. So Kiki is trying to go on and on or whatever. Letitia has to escort her out of the room. And Tisha just feels like, she just doesn't want Tiffany talking about her marriage or her business. And I'm just trying to figure out, how does Tiffany know that you got put out of the office? Because the only people who should know that is you, your husband. I know that Kimmy knew because she offered for you to use Maurice's office. So how does Tiffany know that you got put out, girl? Who else has been telling your business? All right, now let's go ahead and move on because now we have Martell and Sheree arriving. And it seems like everyone is fangirling over Sheree because, of course, she's from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So they're walking around, talking to people or whatever. And it's funny because in their confessional, you have Kimmy being completely honest. Like, listen, this is real different than when he was walking around with Melody. Because they look like they were actually together. And Sheree and Martell look like a business transaction. I said, ding, ding, ding. That's what this is. So we next see that Martell is going to go ahead and say his little speech. He thanks everybody for coming out. He thanks the woman from the magazine. And that was that. He did not thank Sheree. There was no special message for her. And I'm just like, well, I'm not expecting much because, when he was with Melody, he had to say, oh, thanks to my wife. But as we know on this show, he calls this woman his friend girl. Yeah, not girlfriend, but his friend girl. And I have to say it, Sheree looks so awkward while she's there because she doesn't know any of these people. This ain't like Housewives of Atlanta where you could go talk to Drew or go talk to Marlo or something like that. No, girl, these are all these Huntsville people. What I'm trying to figure out is why she didn't just go sit in that back room that lady told Martell that he could use. That's where she should have been because she don't know these people. Like, Martell didn't even try to introduce her to the women of the show. Like, at least that would have made sense. He over there working the room talking to a bunch of people that he personally knows. And it's funny because they go over to Marceau and he's talking to the guys and he's like, so what y'all think about that cover? Because according to him, it's completely airbrushed and it would even look like Martell. Now, I haven't even seen this cover for real, but I mean, it's airbrushed. Now, y'all, again, who clocked in for work? Tiffany. Baby, Tiffany said, I'm about to wait a solid 25 seconds. If somebody come talk to Sheree, that's a sign that I don't need to go over there. But if don't nobody go over there, oh, I'm taking my opportunity. Baby, she took that opportunity and she definitely had a conversation with Sheree. Didn't she, y'all? So she opens up the conversation, being real nice to Sheree. And then she goes on to ask her, so, have you met Mel yet? And Sheree's like, no, I haven't met Mel. Oh, actually, you know what? I did meet her back in the day when I had a book. And she came to the book signing. And she had little Martell with her. And we took a picture or whatever at the book signing. So Tiffany is like, oh, okay. So, like, she was like an admirer of yours or whatever. And she's like, yeah, it's because, I had a book out. So Tiffany is like, oh, I think that's kind of weird because I would definitely want to meet the person who's going to be around my children. And I'm just like, well, Tiff, you got a point there because I am pretty sure, knowing Martell the way he is, he's going to have Sheree around his children in no time. But he's so worried about who Mel has around the children. So Tiffany, she's like, we need to fix that you haven't met Mel because you're around her kids. Like, you met her kids before. And Sheree's like, yeah, because, Martell has the kids and I'm around him. And Sheree's like, there's nothing to fix. Now, fix, it may be the wrong word to use, but I do understand where Tiffany is coming from of, you know what? If you're going to be around this woman's children, maybe you should meet her. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, this right here is where I was like, you know what? Somebody come get Tiffany because she is here to stir up the mess. She straight up to Sheree's face, who was supposed to be dating Martell. She's like, so do you think he still loves Mel? And when Sheree answers, she says, nah, because, we have these conversations and I don't think so. Y'all, why was Tiffany's response, really? Somebody come get Tiffany. I am so tapped out. That is funny to me because she is literally asking Sheree questions as if her and Martell are not dating. She knows that this is a business plan. She knows that this was a PR stunt. She knows that this is pure foolishness. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Do you think he really wants to be back with his ex-wife? So now you have Tiffany asking her, or not even asking, she's telling her about the way Martell was acting at Kimmy's party. And according to Sheree, she's like, Martell should care about his ex-wife because they did build a family together and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, look at Sheree trying to save face for this fake relationship. Alright, so now Tiffany is still going with the questions, y'all. She was not letting up on Sheree. She literally asked her, so how does it feel to be with someone who has, he has kids and he's a known cheater? Like, how do you feel dating him? And it's so crazy to me because she then looks at Sheree and says, because, you're so strong. Like, what kind of backhanded compliment was that, girl? Yeah, Sheree may be strong, but Sheree stay dating somebody who she ain't got no business dating. So Sheree's response to this is, as long as he treats her right, she's not worried about this man being a previous cheater. So Tiffany hits her with the, oh, because you put it down like that, that's why you think it's okay? Y'all, why is Tiffany eating Sheree up like this? Like, she's really eating her up. I mean, at this point, I was waiting for Sheree's hot flashes to kick in. I really was. I was waiting for her to start fanning, say she needs some water, because Tiffany was on her neck. Then, Tiffany didn't stop there. In her confessional, she said Martell got somebody that's closer to Miss Marlene's age. I don't know what has come over Tiffany. I don't know if her hearing how Martell left that little girl hanging, or if it's the fact that this man is in court trying to fight Melody for the custody of the kids. I don't know what it is, but baby, this girl don't like Martell. Tiffany ain't messing with Martell at all because she ain't feeling Sheree, and it's clear that she do not like Martell. Alright, y'all, so now we move on to the next scene, and you have Martell pretending to study. I'm gonna let y'all crack the jokes on that one, because if we're all being honest, we know he ain't studying nothing. He just stacked them books up to make it look like he was really doing something. Nonetheless, Sheree comes over, and she talks about how, she's so tired because his party was last night. I find it very interesting that this is supposed to be your man, but you didn't sleep over at his house. Now, I'm going to assume that she didn't sleep over because the kids were there the next morning, because I definitely don't think that the kids were there that night, because who will be watching them? I'm pretty sure Martell doesn't believe in having a babysitter watch the kids because, him and his mama were at the party. So I find it so funny that he gonna tell Sheree that his mom came through, picked the kids up that morning. Because I'm like, well, sir, isn't that a babysitter? Because you were just whining to the Fletchers about how Mel has too many babysitters when it's the top of the morning and you decide to have your mama come pick them kids up. As if you're watching them, though, right? Okay. So then we see Sheree ask him about how, they've had conversations about blending families and all this stuff. I'm like, blending families? First of all, your whole family is grown, Sheree. Cairo, grown. Callie, grown. I want to say her oldest kid name is Tiara or something like that. She's grown. Your house is empty right now. So it's more so you being more involved and hands-on with his children than anything else. Because his kids are still young. Like, it's crazy to me that Sheree is really sitting in this man's face. And this man is trying to take the kids from the mother of the children. Like, how are you sitting in his face entertaining him? I could never. Especially, even though you said that you've watched the show. So this means that you've seen the way this man has treated his ex-wife. Like, I just feel like I'm losing so much respect for Sheree every time she's on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, I think that is crazy that Martell asked her, oh, you willing to move to Huntsville? And I'm just like, why would she move to Huntsville? Like, be for real right now. Why would she live there? Considering she has Chateau Sheree. Come on now. Follow the storyline, sir. The question is, will you be willing to move to Atlanta? If anything, you should want to because her house is bigger than yours. So Sheree actually ends up telling Martell about her meeting with Tiffany. And she's like, she actually asked me if I thought that you were still into Mel. And he over here twisted his face all up to me. So what kind of question is that? I'm like, sir, you can twist your face all you want, but we all know that you still want your ex-wife. So now Sheree wants to talk about this. And she's like, so do you still want her? He's like, no. She's like, well, Tiffany said that y'all were at an event. You were basically chasing her around, following everywhere she went. And according to Martell, because he's such a gentleman. So he wanted to make sure that if any woman was going to be walking out of the building, that, someone's going to walk them out, especially the mother of his children. I said, sir, cut it out. Especially when Sheree was like, oh, because she made it seem like you were just following her around. I said, and he did. That's absolutely what he did. Because literally she was standing around talking to somebody else. He jumped into a conversation trying to talk to her, talking about some did you pray to God about what we talked about? No. So then when she was trying to leave, and when she was saying goodbye to everybody, he followed her around. Tiffany ain't lying. But according to Martell, that's not how it went down. I'm just like, sir, you clearly still want your ex-wife. Let's not put that on Mel. And you don't know how to handle it. Like, it was kind of sad to watch him try to convince himself that he did not want to be with Melody anymore while he's sitting in Sheree's face. So Sheree has to report back to Martell everything that Tiffany questioned her about. And now Martell is feeling some type of way. But he absolutely loved the fact that Sheree told Tiffany that, even though you're trying to call out Martell for being a known cheater, you're a known cheater as well. Like, it's so crazy to me watching this because we know Sheree is the bone carrier. But it's like she really is carrying every sentence that Tiffany had to say to her. I'm just like, okay, girl, like, I wish that you would have carried this conversation a little bit differently. Like, instead of it being well, Tiffany questioned me about this, so let's talk about it. It should have been some Martell. I know in the past that you've been, had your infidelity and all that stuff, but moving forward in our relationship, I just want to make sure that there's not going to be any type of cheating or anything. You know what I'm saying? So, you already know Martell is feeling some type of way. He feels like the conversation that Tiffany had with Sheree was very inappropriate. Now, was it inappropriate? Sure. But do I feel like Tiffany really, stepped out of line? No, because I feel like the questions were kind of valid. Because how do you come into a new situation dating somebody like Martell? And we all know he does not have a good reputation. But y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.